Looking out my front door, it's almost 11 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, August 19th. And look what we got going already. And up here, we got a guy spraying. I don't know if you can see him or not, light as it is. Chemtrails way in the back. I mean, it's going to be a notorious day for spraying. You can see it happening right now. Haven't looked at the weather report, but we're going to do it. My buddy the Dove, he's still alive. Thank goodness he hasn't died yet. Looking into that western sector real quick here, look what this guy did. He laced this rail, and then he turned it, and then he plumed it right up here where it finally starts to dissipate. But the heaviest portion is right back in there, right over the cell tower array, right over Mangus Mountain. Well, here's the AccuWeather report for Wednesday, August 19th. You already saw what was going on in the sky. And according to the weather report, there shouldn't be any of that. Little bits and pieces coming out of Nevada, but it looks like Arizona should be crystal clear, and yet it's not. Further documentation that they're lying to us and they're still spraying us. Mexico's got that bulb coming up here. You can see what they're doing. Look at the Midwest and all. Just look at this mess. It's all chemtrailed right through there. The ball in Florida hit Louisiana. It didn't hit Florida. This is happening over here in the Atlantic Ocean. This is what hit Florida before. And now that's over here. Northeastern states, a little bit of some sunshine there. Canada, look at that. Northeastern part of Canada. I mean, it looks like it's snowing. Great Lakes hit hard. Big Ten states hit hard. Half the country's getting hit real hard. Indigo Skyfall Phase 2 program, again, you can see what's happening in Missouri, Kansas, Illinois, where the farmland is. They're polluting it. They're polluting it bad. We're outside in the great wide open looking at that western sector, and just look what you see. Chemtrail activity. This whole little bit. You saw the weather report. They say there's nothing out here. Well, some people think these are clouds. And the smart people know that they're not. Look at this rail this guy put through here. You mean this shit's not picking up on the radar now? Look how they crossed it over with this rail here. They make a menagerie of soot like that over there, a Medusa type effect. Look it up over here, wisps, chemtrail activity all around the horizon. Got some cloudoids built up there that's not shown on the weather report. Imagine that. We'll bring that in so you can see it. Cartoon in nature as usual. Eastern sector. You see what I see. As I pan into the southern side, all you see is chemtrail soot, activity, lines, haze, you name it, it's out here. But these trails right here, I mean, look what they did. It's just criminal activity. Well, you saw the weather forecast. Look what we got going. They made up some cloudoids. They've got soot and chemtrail activity everywhere. X's and wisps and all kinds of neat crap in our sky as we continue to breathe. Look at this guy's plume here as he led it right into the wisps, which then lead right into the cloudoids. See how they do it? Look at the wisps over here falling from the sky. Again, clouds don't fall into wisps out of the sky. Well, the weather report said clear sky day, and we got nothing but a white Medusa sitting up here in our skies. A thin white Medusa with embedded cloudoids. As I don't know what they're going to do. And look at this guy, look at this rail this guy just spun over here. And then there's another one right above me. My sun's in my face. I can't really see it. I'm just pointing it up there. Hopefully it'll come in for us. Soot in the sky, the southern horizon. And this is that eastern horizon. You can see the rails all the way in the back. So much for clear sky day. They lied to us again. Well, through my viewfinder, this sky is getting awful gray. And that's what they're doing. They're conditioning you. Make the sky gray. You see it on commercials. The skies are white, green, blue, full of soot. chemtrails, cloudoids, everything, but you'll never see a commercial with a pristine blue sky. Check it out for yourself. Prove me wrong. If you find a commercial that shows a clear blue sky, you let me know. Joseph Clyde, AscensionPathway.com on the Evan Fain YouTube channel, bringing you grid work, geoengineering on a daily basis. And today is Thursday, August 20th, and it looks like it is possible this could be the first day. As I pan all the way around the horizon, you see the haze, but there's no cloudoids in sight. No cloudoids. Just hazy soot falling from the horizon. No chemtrail activity. Now back over here, opposite the sun in that western horizon, this sky should be dark cobalt blue because the sun is coming up in the east. As I pan westerly or southerly, you can see how light that is, and you can see the haze in that mountain range. We're gonna go show you the weather report and see what happens today, see if they'll destroy our sky. Or could this possibly be the first day this year that there's no chemtrail activity? All right, we're inside looking at the AccuWeather forecast for Thursday, August 20th, 2015. We know they've been lying to us again. All right, these weather reports are not true to form. You saw what happened yesterday, and we had the same thing like this. You can see a little bit of activity going on in the live action here through Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and it's going to hit Arizona. They're not going to let us go. And nobody's safe from this. Nobody's exempt. Texas getting hit real hard as they swirl us all through the Gulf there. Look at that. Florida constantly. Here's that bomb that went through. That was once in Louisiana, came out here. All these south and northeastern states are all getting hit real hard. Michigan, look at Wisconsin, just splayed over. They're caught in that bulb right there in Canada and in Michigan and New York. Look what's going on here. Yeah, but at least the Midwest is somewhat clear. Spotty trailing at best. Well, guess what? It's about 1 o'clock and they gathered up some moisture to create some cloudoids off the top of that mountain range. So, no clear sky day. They still got cloudoids, so I expect the spraying to resume real shortly here. Look at that fluff. Well, here's what's transpired today. They moved in some cloudoids, and they made it rain. Briefly, but they did make it sprinkle. This is what we got left over. Just look how ridiculous this looks. You can see the soot falling out of the sky, and that's not rain there. Look at this little configuration there. Okay, what is that? Come on. Here's the AccuWeather report for Friday, August 21st, 2015. You can see what's going on. We'll start with Mexico with the fake monsoon as it's finally coming to an end. They're still sporadically spraying upward. You can see what's going on. United States as a whole, not too bad. The double bulge there in the Gulf is now dispersed into these states here, those southeastern states. Again, indigo skyfold phase 2 still in the works. They're hitting Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, a little bit of Tennessee, Kentucky. Anyway, Florida, we saw what happened before. Everything's moved right on out of there. Well, today, you saw the weather report. They've blown some cloudoids in, and look at that. We're going to keep an eye out on it and see what's going to transpire. Watch them turn into white soot. You can already see the gray already on the bottom of these bad boys. So it's only a matter of time. Standing out in my driveway about 4:45. Not much to document, but all we got is cloudoids. You saw the weather report earlier. There was no such thing in the sky. If you look over here, you can see the white wisp already falling. Cloudoids back over here. Yeah, it's the same old crap. Joseph Clyde, AscensionPathway.com on the Evan Fain YouTube channel. Bringing you grid work, geoengineering on a daily basis. A little windy out here. I'm in the great wide open. This is Friday, August 21st, 2015. And here's what we got in the sky right now. Check it out. Look at the color. It's all soot in the sky. This is why we no longer have blue sky, why it's turning green. We got all this soot with different colors. As I go from west to north, you can see the different colors out there. This is why our horizon is green. As you can see, it's got a pinkish hue. When you add blue and pink, you get green. That's why we got kind of a greenish sky. You see on TV, they're making the skies green. I've even seen where they got the sky orange. I mean, come on. There's your orange. Okay, it's all soot. Look up here, you can see the pinkish right in the sky as the soot falls. But look how notorious that soot is. Let it focus in. Give you a good view of that soot. And we're breathing this in. It goes all the way up, all the way back down. Look at that soot. Cloudoids in the background. You saw the fluffiness today? Okay, you saw the fluff. All right, we're gonna go from the west to the north. As I go into that northern sector, you see the cloudoids. They've already been collapsed into bunches. You can see the chunks falling out of those bad boys as it all just turns into this soot down here. All those cloudoids that were fluffed during the day, this is what's left. And the rest of it has all collapsed. Okay, as I keep panning from the eastern sector, as I head south, we got another bomb there. That's all flattened and ready to collapse. Still some white on the top as it gets a little sunlight. But look at the haze. Look how thick that haze is back there. You can't even see through it. Look at. Wow. Again, as I pan all the way around, I'm going to show you that green sky that they're promoting. Look at the soot up here. I mean, shouldn't that be blue? This is the soot. This is the color of the soot. Look how the bottom horizon is all not, it's anything but blue. And that's exactly what they're programming you to see. TVs. Kids' cartoons. Look at, that's friggin' greenish yellow. That should be blue, and look how high up it goes before it finally gets to be somewhat dark. And it's still not blue, even straight up. Well, anyways, I've had enough of this crap. I am signing off, and have a good night. See you tomorrow. Joseph Clyde, AscensionPathway.com on the Evan Fain YouTube channel. Bringing you grid work, geoengineering on a daily basis, showing you the fraud for what it is. This is Saturday, August 22nd, 2015. The western horizon, I'm not in the great wide open, I'm in the middle of my road looking at these fluffed up cloudoids that they had somehow manufactured, because we know these aren't clouds. We've already documented this over and over. Because look at this little bomb sitting out in the middle of nowhere here. I mean, come on. It's like pan all the way around. We got cloudoids everywhere. There's one that's a cartoon in nature. Right there. Panning all the way around. You see what I see? Nothing but haze. Light blue, gray blue. Cloudoids in that far horizon. That's about it. Here's another thing. Dude, look how low this cloud is. Cloudoid. Sorry. We know they're not clouds. But it's just so friggin' low. These clouds would have already dissipated into water droplets or just nothingness. They wouldn't be lingering that low in the sky. Lo and behold, at around 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, we got ourselves a silver bullet spraying some plume. Welcome back to the show, boys. Nasty plume. On top of it all, look where he's going. He's heading right for that cloudoid plume. And watch what he does when he heads right in there. He's getting that outer edge. He's heading for the other plumes. A nasty little silver bullet. He heads right into the edge of that plume. Oh yeah, see, right on top of the plume. You build that up just a little bit more. Fast dissipating mix so you don't pay any attention to it. We continue to work our skies until they're completely polluted. It's about 4:30 on Saturday, and I'm showing you this big fluff ball. You can see on the bottom, you got the plate. There's the mashed potato effect. Little charcoal effect there. Actually, that's another little cloudoid just stuck in there, all black soot. But you can see the charcoal effect on those cloudoids. You see the little charcoal effect. And then the plate on the bottom, where it's flattened on the matrix, then that just eventually collapses and falls into white soot. We showed this over and over. And look how low these are. Look at this bad boy. Oh my God, this is only, I mean, airplanes fly a lot higher than this. Same old shit happening every day. They've really got some fluffs. I'm gonna go get my workout and come back to the great wide open and see what we got. See how it's turning into soot. Right here is a prime example before I even go. Look at the soot falling out of there in between those two cloudoids. How'd that happen? Look, it's raining soot. See the soot falling? Right on top of that as it collapses this. God, it's so easy once you know what's going on. Getting close to 6 o'clock, I want to show you this again. Here is what most people think are clouds. You can see the charcoal effect all the way around it. Cartoon in nature. Black soot embedded in between those cloudoids. But what's going to happen to this is the same thing that happened to this. Look at this. Look how everything just dropped out of that. It's all soot falling from the sky. And over here, see, and that's exactly what's going to happen to that big cloudoid that we just saw. Well, this is my last documentation of the night. Most of the soot and stuff has flown and fell apart, collapsed in somebody's face. This is what's left in that northwestern sector, and you can see the chunks coming out of there. Now, people say, well, it's just a cloud. No, it's not a cloud. Look again. I mean, when do you see clouds in a straight line like this, like we said before, all the way across like that? They don't do that. We know this. It's about time we call these assholes out. Have a good night. Yes, I'm angry. People should be angry and fuel that emotion to get this done with. Stop the spraying. They made it rain, but I happened to walk outside. I wasn't going to do any documentation today, but I stood outside at 5 o'clock and look what I see. This guy spinning a rail to try to make it rain some more, or whatever he's trying to do. Sprayed it right up in the plume, turned it off. As I pan over here where he should be, he never came out. Further evidence, they're just connecting the dots as they fill up that plumed area. And make it more plumed. See that? A little bit of blue still left in there. They want to fill that in. But I gotta tell you, I've seen some ridiculous type of cartoon cloudoids, but I didn't have my camera with me. Got a bit of a headache today from the frequencies they've been blasting. They were able to create a large thunderstorm north of me that actually got radio coverage. So this is what's happening. This is what's happening. Look at the wisps up here. Jeez. As the Medusa starts to rise from the west. Here we go. I just stepped outside. Almost 6 o'clock. See this guy adding to the edge of the plume? You can see the Christmas tree bulb effect, or the centipede effect, whatever you want to call it. And you can see the plume this guy laid on this side. So they crossed the two edges of the plume to the edge of this big Medusa-like plume. And I'm going to head to the great wide open and show you exactly what's going on. It's just friggin' ridiculous. Boy, I got more action in the last few minutes than I had all day. Look at this rail. This guy just spun. Right in through here. Right up through here. Matching up with this other guy's two rails there and the rail there. That rail, and then he matched another rail up there as he headed into the plume. Then, There's more. I'm heading to the Great Wide Open to show you more. Look at the edge of that friggin' grid over there. Wow. Isn't that something? People think this is real. They still think it's real. Getting ready to head to the Great Wide Open, but I picked this up. Where that rail is, look real close and you'll see the shadow rail right along with it. Little focus issues there as the battery starts to wind down, but I don't know if you can see that through there or not, but there's that shadow thing again flying through there parallel with the rail. And now minutes later we got another rail with this guy spun. Look, it's just never gonna stop. Orange peel up here. But the thing is they're still spraying those friggin' rails. There's what's left over of that rail. Here's what's left over of that rail. And then what's left over of that initial rail here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and lo and behold, we got another guy straight up. And there he is right there. See him spraying the plume, heading right for the plume. And he plumed it up right through this other existing plume. So they're just non-stop railing us. And now we got another one. I mean, this is getting to be ridiculous, people. He's in there nonetheless. You can see the rail. See the rail right there? And he just spun that. Here he comes out. Looks like a friggin' tanker. Look at the friggin' plume blasting out of that guy. Wow. And look how low he is. Look at that friggin' monster plume. My God, people can't see this shit. We're back on these other plumes again. Look how they're dispersing into the sky. And people think it's a normal phenomenon. Here's that other plume. Look how that looks. You would never know that was a plume, would you? You would never have known unless you do the research. And here's that bad boy that just sprayed this. Look at that plume inside the existing plume. My God, when are people gonna wake up to this stuff? Look at that plume as he sprayed right over top into that big mess. Isn't that something? Look, you can see the Medusa in the western sector. Already broke down, the white soot on the top. Cartoon cloudoids in there, sun is white as usual. Soot falling from the sky in the back there, you can see the soot. Look at the big bomb here, as that's a making of a Medusa. Look at the soot falling from the sky there. Man, are people ever gonna wake up to this? Cartoon clouds in the way in the background, those will all be collapsed. Same thing they did here. This was once all fluff. Panning back into that eastern sector, you can see the grid work and you can see the soot falling from the sky. Look at that soot. My God, as I pan into that southern sector, look what's going on back there. Yeah. Yep, look at that. My God, and these people don't have a clue of what's going on. This is just simply, it just aggravates me, but that's why we bring you these videos. Look at that soot back there that was once fluffed up. So people think those clouds that are fluffy are clouds? Guess again. Guess again. Just take the time, go outside, watch it collapse, turn into soot, and then perhaps you may be angry enough to start doing something about it. All right, people, wake up. This is that plume that guy just sprayed. Look how that thing's dispersed. Look how wide the dispersion is on that plume. God dang, when are you people gonna get a friggin' clue? All right, we're back for another final documentation again. Just check this out. Look at the soot on the bottom. First we'll start on the edge. Look at the soot on the edge of this. Chunks falling. Okay, the black soot's already fallen from the sky. This is real low here. And then look at the colored soot from the reflection of the sun. Looks like a friggin' bomb went off. Look at that. Look in the heart of that. Look at that plume. Deadly, toxic plume. As I pan over here, you get a real treat to see exactly what's going on. Look at this. Look at the different rails that are already embedded in there. You can see them. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it goes on. Now we could be counting all night. But look over here. Look at the soot falling down the bottom. Look how low this is. My lungs are clogged by breathing this shit. Look at that. My God. Looks like the second coming of Moses. Look at that yellow shit falling out of the sky there. What the hell is that? That's the questions you need to be asking your elected officials. And why aren't anybody doing anything about this? Huh?